club was born out of a deep passion for local soccer and pride in our community. In the off-season, we have been building, working, and striving for more. This season, we honor the roots that run deep. And what makes Ballard our home. Up the stakes, up the stoke, up the bridges.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to a cloudy and overcast but sold-out Interbay Stadium here in Seattle, Washington for some Friday night USL League 2 action here on Ballard FC TV. Tonight, Ballard FC plays host to Oly Town FC. They beat this side 4-0 back in their second regular season match just a couple weeks ago. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andrew Harvey, thrilled to be joined once again by the hardest-working businessman in show business, my father, Jim. Jim, great to have you back.
Well, it's nice to be back. And it's a typical Seattle night, you know, slightly drizzly and about 58 degrees. So how appropriate.
The local parlance is that it is January, so thanks for joining in. If you're tuning in from home, you're at least staying out of the rain if you're watching locally, or you just weren't able to get a ticket. 3 straight sellouts for Ballard FC. It's such a strong home field advantage for them, and it really is just an electric atmosphere here at Interbay Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that, we're really sort of the gold standard for this league. They're doing a great job getting the community involved, not only from sponsorship, but the sellouts reflect all of that.
Well, we have another top-of-the-table clash for you. Ballard FC in first place, Oly Town in second. They're 3 wins, 1 loss. That 1 loss was the 4-0 against Ballard. Ballard, a perfect 4-0. They've scored 16 goals this season, but they've just conceded 1.
Yeah, and obviously, if you were one of these people that said, well, what happened to the other point? It's like they've only given up 1, but that's astoundingly good defense. And it probably also reflects the domination that they're showing on the pitch for 90 minutes.
Well, and speaking of that domination, it was formally recognized. Captain and left back Lucia Tetsane from Ballard was named to the USL League 2 Team of the Month for the month of May. Came right back in, the Lesotho senior international player, and has continued his excellent play here at Ballard.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch him tonight, you'll notice how poised he is. He can accelerate play when it's time to accelerate it, and then he can also tone it down and draw the play back and get people to regroup and get organized.
Oly Town, meanwhile, like we said, strong team in second place, right behind Ballard, and could pull level on points if they manage to pull off a win on the road here. They're managed by Leeview Bird. We'll talk a lot more about Leeview over the course of the game, but he's someone that Jim and I know well from our time calling games for the Kitsap Pumas, where he was once a head coach. Won an MLS Cup while working as an analyst with the Columbus Crew in their analytics department. Now he's back here with Oly Town, and he's got Gil de la Luz up top. 3 goals on the season. They all came in an electric 6-5 win against United PDX.
Yeah, it sounds like that was quite the ordeal, that game, with red cards aplenty and changes of lead 4 or 5 times. I mean, sounded like a great game, but anybody who's capable of netting 3 goals in any game obviously has a talent and is someone to be watched.
Well, we think we've got a really, really good one in store for you. Thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube and or on GoBallardFC.com. Don't go away. We are minutes away from kickoff between Ballard FC and Oly Town FC, coming up after this.
Welcome to the Georgian Dragons, Seattle's established home for footy since 1995 and proud broadcast sponsor of Ballard Football Club. Home to classic English pub food, 24 draft beers, a large whiskey selection and craft cocktails. With a beer garden, heated patio and cosy pub, the George has everything for good times with friends and family. And weekly events such as pub trivia and karaoke. Open 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. daily and even earlier for all your favourite football clubs, national teams and cup tournaments. When you're at the Georgian Dragon, you're family, and here at the George we say welcome home. Go Ballard FC and up the bridges.
Defender number 4, Leo Burney. Defender number 21, Damien Alvarez. Defender number 22, Kai Briscoe. Midfielder number 14, Bailey Leatherman. Midfielder number 26, Danny Forrest. Forward number 7, Charlie Duffy. Forward number 9, Alex Mejia. Forward number 10, Peter Kingston. Forward number 45, Daz Korzanowski. And your captain, defender number 12, Lucia Tessani. Before we on to the national anthem of the United States, we would like to first acknowledge that we are gathered on the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Duwamish, Suquamish, and Stillaguamish. We thank them for their immense contributions to our state and local history, culture, economy, and identity as Washingtonians. Additionally, the United Soccer League, its teams, and its players stand together in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. Please join us for an 11-second moment of silence as we are all united against racism. Thank you. And now we ask that you please rise and remove your hats. Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the Ballard High School Vocal Jazz Choir.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and the home of the brave?
Once again, the Ballard High School Vocal Jazz Choir.
A stirring rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner here at Interbay Stadium as we are set for kickoff on Ballard FC TV. Andrew Harvey alongside my father Jim. Oly Town Leaview Bird has named his starting 11 thusly. In goals, Dante Perez. The back four, Jack Slouse, Cameron Miller, Keegan York, and Habib Famudatimi. The midfield, Benny Nicasio, Cooper Brunel, and Richie Lapointe Guevara. And the front three, Gil De La Luz, Desmond Wade Jr., and Chris Peretti. For Ballard, Lars Hellerins between the sticks. The back four, Tetsane, Alvarez, Burney, and Briscoe. The midfield, Robles, Leatherman, and Mejia. And up top, Peter Kingston, Korzanowski, and Charlie Gaffney. It is a formidable lineup Jim, for Ballard.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, obviously, as we talked during the pregame, 16 goals for and only conceding 1 against. Any team has got a big uphill climb if they're going to stick one into the net against Ballard.
Well, you see Ballard back in the Champagne home kits. Last week was the Dazfi night in honor of Patrick Wynn, the artist who designed this year's alternate kit. Back in their traditional home colors, raring to get things going. Oly Town in blue from head to toe. They'll move from right to left on your screen here in the first half. Your referees, Mike Hohenholtz, assisted by Eric Kruger and Aiden Atkins. Eric Harrison, the 4th official. Well, Jim, if there were concerns about whether or not the weather might keep some of the locals away, it certainly hasn't been the case. Another packed to the gills Interbay Stadium. And playing in front of numbers like that, it is a big advantage in this league.
There's no question, and obviously this is considered Seattle sunshine. It's a misty rain, and it's 58 degrees, but hardly anything that's going to keep diehard fans like Ballard FC fans away from the pitch.
Korzanowski had a brace the last time these two teams faced, and he will get us underway. 4-0. Ballard won that match, the first road match of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Korzanowski is a very large human being. I mean, he's 6'5", and I don't know how much he weighs, but you can just tell by the musculature that he is a force to be reckoned with.
There's Kai Briscoe. Thrown in for Tetsane.
Yeah, boy, that was a heck of a throw halfway across the pitch to go back at an angle to Tetsane.
Briscoe, one of a couple players on this Ballard roster that can really heave him in there. University of Washington man out of the Sounders Academy. Slotted in to replace Nick Ryerson, who was a stalwart at that right fullback spot for Ballard last year. And hasn't missed a note.
Yeah, you would expect Briscoe to be not only a great defender, but somebody who's going to push the ball way up the pitch and use his pace as well as his skill to get crosses into the box.
Tetsane in for Robles, down quickly, and that'll lead to a Ballard free kick. Desmond Wade Jr. getting backed off the ball there.
You'd have to think that either Mejias or Korzanowski would be the target for this service.
Ball coming in from Kingston. Headed out toward Robles, who's upended. Kingston carries on, finds Mejia. His cross coming in, and Mejia was offside.
Yeah, but that was a really nice ball control by Kingston, who last year was a force on the left side and obviously continues that this year. But he's recently transferred to the University of Washington, so an already great program has gotten even more, skills and additional strength in their outside mid and attacking mid.
Dante Perez kind of served as a career backup to Akili Kasim at Seattle University. Back underway with this free kick. We'd like to remind you tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the Georgian Dragon Pub. The Georgian Dragon, Seattle's original soccer bar. Kingston. Robles. Leatherman switches the field. Skips under the foot of Briscoe. Gaffney gets an edge on his man. Going for the quick ball coming inside. Too long for Kingston. He'll chase it down in the far alleyway.
Yeah, but I really like that early service because it puts...
Robles on his left foot, dropping in and finds the hands of Perez. Pardon me, Jim.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like that early service because it puts, the center backs of Oly Town really under stress, and Kingston just barely missed connecting to that at the far post.
LaPointe Guevara trying to go far side, puts it into touch. Well, we talked about Oly Town manager Leave Bird. You can see him there, left edge of your screen. Played his college ball here at SPU, was in that first year of Mark Collins' tenure at the storied and historic program, and you have to imagine, given the weather conditions, it must feel like he's right back at home.
Yeah, he did point out, however, that the field had been replaced since he played, and this is obviously a much better pitch for this kind of weather than the pitch that preceded it.
Well, and Bird, too, was a keeper here at SPU, so you have to imagine there might be some chagrin that they waited right until after he left to put in the softer landing surface. Point Guevara looking to pull this ball down, connecting on the far side. I wanted to go in to Brunel. 3 goals on the season for him as well, tied for the team lead, along with Delaluz, who we mentioned.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch Ballard FC, the 2 forwards, and see who is further up the pitch and who drops back as a kind of a false 9. And in looking at it, it looks like they're going to exchange that duty. We're talking about Mejias and Korzanowski.
Mejia leads Ballard, 4 goals on the season. Impressive, especially considering he didn't start for the first couple matches of the year. But basically after a super sub shift, coming on and scoring 2 goals in a road win down at United PDX. Jason Farrell kind of had his hands tied, had to put Mejia out there, and so far it's been a pretty effective partnership between he and Korzanowski.
It's always interesting to find 2 players and see how they learn to work together. Mejia not only played here for his college ball, but also played for Ballard FC last year.
Bit of a miscue from Korzanowski. Now it's Delaluz. Brunel can't get to it. Korzanowski running through tackle. Very tough to take him off the ball. Delaluz went for the old-fashioned way, free kick.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that you notice in watching that little sequence of play is how hard it is for 3 Oly Town players to actually get the ball without fouling them. The answer is they couldn't.
Briscoe intercepts from Desmond Wade Jr. Oly Town has it right back, comes near side, Delaluz. Driven ball to the far end.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful pace ball on that one.
Brunel there, back to Famu pardon me. Inside Keegan York and Cameron Miller. Miller played most of his, the entirety of his undergraduate ball at Western Washington University, one of a couple Vikings on this roster, and then spent his graduate season, that 5th year of NCAA eligibility, up at Seattle University. Of course, with the COVID seasons, you're going to have a couple 7th-year seniors in the NCAA.
Yeah, but that's starting to roll off those rosters. But clearly, University of Washington, SPU, Seattle U are all teams that that have players that are playing not just on this Ballard FC team, but other teams in the league as well.
Tetsane looking over the top, and Miller tucks that ball over the fence. First one of the day.
We'd have to say that in terms of the run of play at this point, it's been fairly even. Maybe Ballard had a bit of an advantage the first couple minutes, but Oly Town has gotten some possession and moved the ball up the pitch.
Tetsane was trying to help himself to some free real estate. Ball left fat. Korzanowski comes in, cleans it up back to Bernie. Does enough to get the ball away. And now Briscoe. Deflected through ball, appeals for handball, and it's been given. Hohenholtz, our referee, had a pretty good look at it, straight on.
Yeah, Mike is a really good referee. I've actually worked with him myself years ago. Very experienced guy, very steady, and very consistent.
Robles lined up over this free kick. Send it in with the left foot. Dropping ball coming in off the head of Mejia!
Yeah, beautifully served, but Mejia, it looked like he almost didn't get much on the ball, but he got enough, and the goalie wasn't sure whether it was going to deflect or, just sort of skip off his head, and I think it really did the latter. So an excellent service and a very good job on Mejia's part, and obviously Ballard FC wanted to get out to a quick start, and they've done that 9 minutes in.
Well, 1-0. Alex Mejia has his 5th goal of the season. He led the conference in scoring last year, and right back to old familiar ties for the man up top. Like you said, just really a feather of a touch there on that ball.
It's one of the most difficult balls to defend as a goalkeeper because you're really not sure whether you're going to have to make a quick reaction and change a direction or not.
And we're actually hearing from the scorers table now, Jim, that they're giving that goal to Danny Robles. They're saying that Mejia, in fact, didn't get a touch to it.
Well, I think his hair did, but I'm not sure.
It was a near thing one way or the other. But the goal given to Robles, so really, really well-worked free kick. I mean, I feel like that's one where Mejia probably should get an assist because, if he doesn't make that run, then Perez probably in a position to play that at the far post.
Well, an interesting thought is if this were an offside call, almost certainly you would have to argue that Mejia's interfered with the goalkeeper's run of play.
So Robles, instead now with his 4th goal on the season, moves him into a tie with Mejia for the team lead. And 1 for the dubious goals commission. Good interception there from De La Luz, and they've got numbers coming forward. Gone far side, heavy touch there, and it skips through to Hellerin. Well, a really important breakup play on the near side. And that was Damian Alvarez who's slotting in for Christian Ingman, who's dealing with a bit of a knock at present.
Well, Oly Town really needs to try to come back and respond because they know that they already lost 4-0 to this team, and they can't afford to give up another goal without some sort of response. So you're going to probably see them push up and really be a little bit more aggressive in the midfield conversion into the offensive third.
Leo Burney, reigning Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year out at Penn. One of a number of Penn standouts on this roster. Another chancy back pass there. Ballard FC a little unlaced at the back end right now.
Well, and it's also Oly Town is putting a lot of pressure. They're sort of, in hockey parlance, they're forechecking.
Well, to keep that, it's a dump and chase, and it finds its way to Dante Perez. He pelts that one into the shrub end. 2nd of the day. Same spot as the first one. They might actually recover those balls if they can find the first one.
I just don't want to be the person going out there in the wet leaves to get that ball. You see Briscoe really stretching the field widthwise. And the organization of Ballard FC is quite good in terms of spreading the field widthwise, which, of course, opens up passing lanes.
Another long ball looking for Mejia. He gets a touch to it. Floats it up in the air, trying to settle it toward Gaffney. Now he's gone out wide. Gaffney, space for a cross at the back post, off the head of Mejia and over the bar. Now follow-up shot ricochets through. Korzanowski face in his hands, had a chance for the little hockey deflection and couldn't get it.
Well, I think he was beaten to the spot by an Oly Town defender who did a good job, but then Titsani really cracked one and just barely missed the right post. So you really get the sense that Ballard is extremely dangerous offensively. And obviously the more Oly Town presses up the pitch.
Wade here nearly brings that to his feet. Another good disruption from Alvarez. Briscoe getting a little clever with it. LaPointe Guevara wins it back. York trying to swing it far side. He's got Peretti over there.
Yeah, Oly Town doing a good job of sort of retaining possession and just trying to get organized.
Delaluz wins a corner.
And you can't overestimate the importance of corners, especially on a day like this with the slick field, the slick ball. You know, you can very easily give up an unintended rebound and then somebody pounds it into the net.
In-swinger on the way. Sailing backside, LaPointe Guevara there, back into the mixer. Loose ball in front of goal. The shot and sliced over the top. Came off a defender. They'll line up and do it again. That was Peretti on the final effort.
Yeah, that was a very dangerous opportunity. Obviously, Ballard's lucky that somebody got in the way because that looked like it was going into the back of the net.
Delaluz winding up another. Right into the middle. Hellerin reached up and got a hand to it.
And that was a good job on his part because, you know, the most important thing in that kind of and it was a driven low corner, is to put something on it, anything. Just deflect it sideways a little bit. So if somebody's on the far post and they're gauging the distance, they're not getting a clear shot.
A low ball coming in. Brunel. LaPointe Guevara. Nicasio. Going back far side and too much under it. Well, you see it right there, Jim. If Oly Town has a chance to get forward and establish some set pieces, they've got some great options in the middle, particularly Keegan York, the center back out of Washington. One of probably the few people in this league who can make Stas Korzanowski look normal-sized.
Yeah, no question about it. But again, as I was mentioning before, the more up the pitch they press, the more subject to a counterattack they become.
A long ball looking for Kingston. Poked wide by Miller.
Yeah.
Tetsane fighting off Peretti, and a free kick.
Yeah, there's an example of Tetsane's just skill and experience. He just uses his body to screen off the player and gain possession of the ball.
Gaffney lets it run into touch. Immediately thrown in for Briscoe and punted away from York. Look at that thing go. Bernie in some trouble, courtesy of Desmond Wade Jr.
Yeah, good decision on his part to turn it back to Hellerin.
Fun note about Wade Jr. His presence here actually means that this is the first USL League Two match that I've ever been aware of that has two senior international players that have made appearances for their national team playing on the same pitch, between he for Belize and Lucia Tetsane for Lesotho.
Right, two caps on the pitch.
Wade also with time in the top flight of Belize with Verdes FC. Now they'll trot over Briscoe to take a long throw.
And you see Bernie going deep into the 6 Obviously, he's tall, but also a gifted header of the ball. So you would expect some sort of deflection off of his head to someone on the back post.
Briscoe, long looping throw, doesn't beat LaPointe Guevara. Trying to turn on the far touchline. Cleaned out by an on-rushing Peretti.
Right.
Who's going to get a talking to from Mike Hohenholtz.
And Mike's doing the right thing. You know, that one was ostensibly you could have pulled a card on that one. If that had been the Premier League, they would have. But, you know, he's saying, hey, that's right on the edge. Don't do it again.
Kingston. Long looping service, free header, and that one into the hands of Perez. He read it well coming off of Bernie.
Right, and in those situations, it was a high floating ball. You're really not going to get enough on it to beat a keeper. You're better to head that ball back across the 6 to a player who, you know, the keeper's got to respect the possibility of a header from you, but if you can head it back across the pitch, now they have to readjust.
We'd like to say a quick hello to Bob Ballard, who's tuning in all the way back from his native England. Was out here last week and apparently took all the good weather with him when he left. Good to see you, Bob. Good morning to you, and congratulations to your Hammers on their Europa Conference League victory.
Well, if you're Oly Town, you like the fact that Ballard has not scored another goal.
Too long for Gaffney and cleared away from Mejia. Famoudatimi wins the throw. And Jim, they certainly seem to have gotten the response you would want as a manager, wouldn't it be, after conceding relatively early?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that was a weird goal. I mean, it wasn't like somebody just totally blasted the ball past the keeper or someone made a huge mistake. So, you know, aside from that goal, this has been a fairly evenly fought match. And you do see Oly Town responding and being more dangerous offensively.
They're going to try Kingston on the far side. Famoudatimi, the first one to it, falls to Leatherman. Back to Kingston with his first touch. Kingston cutting in. He's tripped up. That'll be a free kick. And Kingston looked like he might have been able to keep his feet there, Jim, but felt the tug, saw the ref looking right at him, and chose to win a set piece.
And realistically, that was a foul. I mean, it wasn't a egregious foul, but it was a foul, and it was a good call. So Kingston's pace continues to be a real threat. You know, you think, oh, I've got this guy covered, and then suddenly his first step just blows right by you, like in that case. And often the only response is to trip the guy. So it's interesting to see how many players they have in the wall. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an awful lot from this angle, in my opinion. As the goalkeeper, I would rather not see that. So that opens up the possibility of a real good service to the 6 area on the far post.
Kingston strikes for goal off the crossbar. Delaluz gives chase, and a beautiful sliding challenge from Bailey Leatherman. And pardon me, it was Nicasio who was running that ball down.
Well, first of all, let's give props to Kingston on a very gifted shot over the wall. Goalkeeper had to dive, and there was no way he was going to get to it.
Some well-worked combinations there. Looking to Korzanowski, and Cameron Miller comes charging in.
Right.
That'll be a corner.
There's an example of 2 strikers very quickly, one touching movement, a really high-quality pass that Korzanowski quite just started a little bit late. He almost got there.
This will be Robles from the near side for the in-swinger. Out as far as Briscoe. He's going to take some space. Cuts it left side. Finds Kingston. Kingston's service. Gaffney back across the face of goal. And Cameron Miller once more.
Right. And that's exactly what he should have done, is try to head it back across the goal. He wasn't trying to shoot, but he's trying to find one of his teammates at somewhere between the 4 and the 6 yard line.
This time we've got Leatherman available as a short option. And they play it short. Now Briscoe going inside. Robles offside there. Really well-timed, coordinated step from Oly Town.
Yes, very, very good. And that was probably directed by the keeper. But that was really, really good responsiveness. Just a bit offside.
They tried the corner and missed.
There's Kingston being a pest and creating an opportunity.
Robles once again winning the foul. Quick restart to Kingston. Kingston, 3 defenders around him. Looking for the byline. Settles for a corner.
Yeah, in general, I like those quick restarts, and referees sometimes stop it when they shouldn't, and Mike didn't in that case, which I think is the right thing.
Leave you Bird wants a word with Mike Hohenholtz.
Again, Mike distinguishes himself as a center ref, being extremely professional in dealing with coaches and players. Very respectful on both parts, and that's the way it should be.
So the 2 men have said their piece. Now it's Kingston. High arcing ball over the head of Perez.
Yeah, the lack of a player on the far post in those kinds of situations just drives me crazy as a former coach, because that often happens where the ball comes across. You just have a player on the far penalty box line, the chances are you're going to be able to serve it back in.
Tetsane. Kingston. Early service and easy stuff for Dante Perez.
Yeah, no, it was a good idea. It wasn't the service where he wanted it to go. He did not try to chip it straight to the goalkeeper, clearly.
Delaluz. Well worked to get it past Briscoe. Couldn't quite finish it. Korzanowski. Laid off to Gaffney. Back inside, Gaffney continues his run. 5 defenders now closing in on Stas Korzanowski.
Well, and honestly, if they can get a ball back and put it across the goal mouth, you know that the offensive players have man advantage.
Ballard so poised with the ball at their feet. Little miscue there. And Brunel just tucks it out of play. Briscoe into Robles.
Nice by Leatherman.
Gaffney, quick cross, and another corner.
Yeah, and Bailey Leatherman is again distinguishing himself by just that scrappy tendency of a good midfielder to win the ball. I don't think he's lost a one-on-one yet this afternoon or this evening.
Ballard, it's music night. Let's hear you. Make some noise.
Robles, hard hit ball to the far post. Up toward Tetsani, tried to head it down for Kingston. In the end, Peretti pokes it out the far side. Peretti, 1 goal on the season. Plays his college ball at the University of Washington. One of a couple Huskies along with York on this roster. Briscoe, always the entertainer. Acrobatic effort with that one. Robles. Gone for goal and gave Perez something to think about.
Yeah, and Mike Holmquist, the center ref, did a good job of calling advantage and letting him play on. Robles having been fouled.
Well won by Nicasio. LaPointe Guevara. Up to Tetsane. Run off the ball and fairly, says the referee. Nicasio. Sliding challenge there from Tetsane. Now they've sprung him down the left side. In comes Cameron Miller, and Tetsane feeling okay to pull out of that challenge.
I think it was a smart thing. That just looked like pain awaiting him.
Well, we've played a half hour here at Interbay Stadium and on Ballard FC TV. Ballard FC leading 1-0 over Oly Town. Andrew Harvey alongside Jim Harvey on the call for you.
Yeah, you'd still have to say that Ballard has certainly created far more dangerous opportunities than Oly Town, and they've been dominating possession for the most part. But Oly Town looks very dangerous, and they only have a 1-0 lead, Ballard. So that's something to pay attention to. If Oly Town can go into halftime 1-0, this is a match. Certainly different from the 4-0 earlier season match.
And even that match was close until kind of late on. Worth mentioning once again that as part of that goal by Danny Robles back in the 9th minute, I've teamed up with Jim, yourself, and the Bridge Keepers, the best supporters group in the league, for my money, to give some money for every time Ballard FC scores through our community goals campaign to the Ballard Food Bank. And free kick coming back after a brief advantage, so basically it's a free foul further up the field. Every time Ballard scores, money goes to a good cause and helps take care of those at risk in our community. You can learn more. Go to my Twitter account, @SoccerVox, SoccerVox. Learn more how you can sign up. Even just $1 a goal can make a big difference. York strikes this downfield. Leatherman clears the danger. Korzanowski brings that ball down nicely. Mejia off and running. Robles trying to run through. Now look at Korzanowski take off. Really well done by Nicasio to get back.
No question about it, but equally impressive was the pace of Korzanowski. I mean, he accelerated by somebody by 2 yards over about 12 or 15. That's hard to do. Ballard's doing a good job of simple passes on the ground, controllable exactly where they want them to. And it makes it easy for their teammate to, get control of the ball and look up and see where else to distribute.
Kingston slicing in here. She was looking for Robles. Falls to Gaffney. And Robles offside once more.
Well, I have to say, I'd rather have my team's offensive players test that offside line than not, because it means that the defenders have to respect it, and they're constantly going up and pushing back. So I'd rather see that.
Brunel losing out there on the far side. Wins the throw-in, though. Famudatimi. LaPointe Guevara looking for the switch to Dela Luz. Briscoe. Casual little back of the head flick. Can't imagine that's easy.
Well, but a very athletic move. I mean, that's very tough to do. He is not the tallest human being out there. So the timing of that has got to be very, very good, and it was beautifully done.
Halloran looking to send downfield. Gaffney does well to hold that ball in play. York going for the overhead clearance. Scuffed it a little bit. Cleaned up by LaPointe Guevara. Back to Perez. Pressure coming. Nicasio. Here comes Korzanowski.
It's always interesting when a much larger human being collides with a smaller human being, they go down. The bigger one always goes, "What? I didn't touch the guy. Come on."
Korzanowski, it's not just all the physical attributes, but it's the mental ones too. The guy's got to be a nightmare to defend. He is just a very, very aggressive attacker. He gets hold of the ball and he just drives right at goal. Speaking of driving, here's Peretti. Alvarez, third time today he's distinguished himself. Slot in, and again, one of the big things, especially in USL League 2, Jim, we're talking about trying to get that depth. Christian Engman unavailable right now, got a bit of a knock. Alvarez slots in, and the drop-off, not that significant.
Well, these are all gifted players that are playing at a high level in college and all D1. So you wouldn't expect as much drop-off as you might on a different kind of a team in a different league.
Peretti, little flick, looking for Brunel. Wade gets a foot to it, back for Peretti. LaPointe Guevara drives toward goal. Falling to Nicasio. Dela Luz is upended, and the advantage didn't develop. Free kick.
And in that case, I think Mike got it wrong, because I think Briscoe was going for the ball, got ridden off, and they called a foul on Briscoe. It's a tough one, but they were both legitimately going for the ball, and why one was called for a foul and the other one wasn't is a question.
Halloran calling for 3 in the wall.
I'd like to see the marking a little tighter on the part of some of these players of Oly Town. They're standing there with nobody on them.
Dela Luz looking back post, too much on it. Gotta be difficult, Jim. Moments like that go begging. Down a goal on the road. Top of the table clash, 1 and 2. And the ability to convert on set piece is so critical.
It is, and especially again on a day like this when it's it may not be raining now, but the ball is slick. You may have noticed earlier in the half, somebody shot from like 30 yards out, and the Oly keeper spilled the ball. So any kind of a set piece that allows you to serve it into the box, you can get some unintended deflections and opportunities for goals.
Leatherman, Kingston, shoves his defender aside, cuts it in. Korzanowski, pass Miller, he's upended, it's a penalty.
Yeah, and that is exactly the right call. Korzanowski did not dive. He was actually going for the ball. He got tripped. Mike just absolutely pointed straight to the spot.
Well, a lot of talented players on this Ballard roster. Robles took the last penalty. It was saved the last time they took a trip to the spot. And it won't be Robles this time. It is Korzanowski. Looking to make it 2-0, close in on halftime. Referee clears the penalty area. Korzanowski thunders it down the middle and scores 2-0.
And that's a great poised penalty shot. On the other hand, and you've heard me say this over the last several years, when goalies dive, they're actually opening up 2/3 of the goal. And so diving one way or the other, most of the time you can just knock it straight down the middle and you're going to score more often than not. That's a very important goal, however, because now that's a 2-0 deficit going into halftime, assuming that Oly Town doesn't come back and net one. So, well-earned, appropriate penalty call and a well-struck ball.
Korzanowski hugging his teammate Christian Engman there. And the Ballard fans loving it. Like you said, Jim, to always talk about those critical fives. That little 5-minute window at the start and end of every half. And wouldn't you know it, weird stuff tends to happen inside that 10-minute window.
There's no question. The other 5-minute one that you didn't mention is within 5 minutes of a goal. And it's not just the team that scores. Often it's the team that scores that gives up a goal because they think, we can breathe a little easier.
Well recovered by York. Slaus loses the ball.
In the 40th minute, Ballard FC goal scored by number 45, Stas Korzanowski.
Big switch there, Peretti. Alvarez looking to come through. Ball tucked into touch. Well, Korzanowski now also on 4 goals this season, and after the goal we'd initially thought was for Mejia given to Robles, it's a 3-way tie at the top of the leaderboard. 3 guys with 4 goals apiece, Mejia, Robles, Korzanowski. That old saying, it's lonely at the top, not at Ballard FC.
Well, and I'm thrilled that they're scoring goals, but of course it's forcing me to get my checkbook out, and I'm happy to do it.
Money to a good cause. More community goal donations to the Ballard Food Bank. Big shout out to Ty Kaslik and some of the other great folks over there at the Bridge Keepers. I reached out, said, is this something you guys would be interested in kind of engaging with? And they all said, absolutely. Flag up for offside against Desmond Wade Jr. Bernie looking toward Korzanowski. Got a foot to that ball, trying to race back to it. Miller doing well to shield him off. One thing we have seen, Jim, so far through 43 odd minutes, this Oly Town team very poised. They don't seem fazed by the goals at all.
No, I think that's absolutely true, and they you know, if you're Ballard FC and you think this game is over, think again, because these guys are gifted and they're poised and they're organized.
Briscoe off and running, runs over Nicasio, and Slaus returns the favor.
Good job on his part after losing the ball, Briscoe, to force a throw in deep in the Oly Town end.
Briscoe has that long throw we've talked about. Mejia lurking near the penalty spot. Korzanowski headed for the near post.
You know, if you have a guy like Korzanowski who's 6'5" and he can get that flick-on header, that's very dangerous to try to defend.
Wade Jr. gets it outside to Brunel. Heavy touch there. Alvarez content to go back to Hellerin. Hellerin really puts his foot through it. Tetsane. Ahead for Mejia. One more to Kingston. Well cleaned up by Fumutatimi, but he left it in the middle. Korzanowski's going to get there. Turns upfield. Rounds one tackle. Fights his way through another. Now Robles chipping and won't beat Perez.
Yeah, you can see that Robles had in his mind that lofted shot that was going to just tuck under the bar and net third goal for Ballard FC, but couldn't quite execute it.
We hit stoppage time here in the first half, which we're told will span 1 minute.
The referee has added a minimum of 1 minute of stoppage time to the first half.
Robles gone ahead for Kingston. Miller. Well, you can hardly blame Peter Kingston for looking up, seeing Cameron Miller running straight at him, and going, hey, you can have this one.
Yeah, yeah, well, still Ballard has an opportunity for perhaps one more offensive push prior to the halftime whistle.
Gaffney, Korzanowski. Lovely sliding challenge there by Keegan York. York gone ahead for Wade, and the ball just runs over his foot. Hellerin controls, and Mike Hohenholtz sounds the whistle for halftime. Well, a really well-worked free kick from Danny Robles and an ice-cold penalty from Stas Korzanowski. The difference at the break, 2-0.
Yeah, no, it's been a very entertaining first half, and I think we can look forward to a very competitive second half.
Well, Jim, your thoughts on what changes, if any, Oly Town needs to make, or do they just need to stick with it?
I think they need to stick with it. I don't imagine they would do any kind of a formational shift to put an extra person up top, because again, then you really open yourself up to the counterattack, and that's not something that down 2-0 that you want to do. On the other hand, you're down 2-0, and it doesn't matter whether you lose 2-0, 3-0. So if they can claw a goal back, then this game really tightens up.
Well, Ballard halfway home, up 2-0 through 45 minutes here on Ballard FC TV. We'll take a break and return with more coverage of Ballard FC against Oly Town FC. Don't go away.
Welcome to the Georgian Dragons, Seattle's established home for footy since 1995 and proud broadcast sponsor of Ballard Football Club. Home to classic English pub food, 24 draft beers, a large whisky selection and craft cocktails. With a beer garden, heated patio and cosy pub, the George has everything for good times with friends and family. And weekly events such as pub trivia and karaoke. Open 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. daily and even earlier for all your favourite football clubs, national teams and cup tournaments. When you're at the Georgian Dragon, you're family, and here at the George we say welcome home. Go Ballard FC and up the bridges.
My name is Jen Muse. I'm the executive director at the Ballard Food Bank. Our mission is to bring food and hope to our neighbors because there can be enough for everyone. And what we've done is really create a space where everyone is welcome and they can really feel that. We built our new home to look like a space where anyone would want to come in. We create a sense of belonging and respect as folks come in to shop at our markets, come to our Kindness Cafe, or access our community resource hub. And then you have our volunteers and our staff, and they're greeting you and they're welcoming you into the space and they're talking to you, they get to know you. They all build relationship with one another. Being a part of that community, especially through the pandemic, has been life-changing for them. We've really seen the space come to life as now people can come in and access all those services, more like a one-stop shop. The idea that a kid wouldn't have the food they need, to me, that means that we have to do better as a community and we have to find ways to give people more access to food and critical services they need. And so it's the volunteers, the people that come through our doors each day that I think really inspire me. We couldn't do what we do without partnerships and how we partner with others in the community. You know, whether it's the restaurants or the breweries, all of those things make it better and make it stronger. The Ballard Food Bank has been a strong space that can kind of help hold people up together and really provide that sense of belonging that we all need.
My name is Patrick. I'm the artist known as Dosvi. We create artwork for a lot of the Ballard community. I think art is an opportunity for the artists, the art, and the community to connect and tell a story or tell the history of a place and then have a conversation about it. Art, music, sports are all vehicles for kids and adults to connect to our ability to create and be creative. I think now more than ever, like, we just have so many ways that we can connect to people through a creative means, and art is that for me, and I feel like for the Ballard community. As you can see during the COVID, small businesses allowed artists to create murals on their boards, Noble Painting providing supplies, and that was like a really unique way for the artists to connect with the Ballard community. We're all neighbors and we're all family members united to help each other. I'm really excited to see soccer on a competitive level again. The fan base is amazing. The beauty of what Ballard FC is, it captures that time of these certain players and in their development. The moment they step out and they're wearing the Dosvi kit, it's gonna just bring back memories of, one, me playing soccer, two, like being part of a club, and three, just full circle that the art is bridging me back to my past experience and reliving a great soccer moment.
welcome back into Interbase Stadium. It is halftime here on Ballard FC TV. Ballard leading 2-0 against in-state competition Oly Town FC, also second on the table, right behind Ballard, 3 points back, in fact, but right now on pace to be 6 points back. Still, Jim, was an energetic first 45.
No question. It was a very evenly matched half, other than the 2-goal situations. The first goal was kind of an odd goal. It looked like it might have been headed, but as a former goalkeeper, I can tell you, very tough to guard those because it was a long service into the box, and they were trying to figure out, well, is it going to deflect or not? And it just sort of went straight in. So that's it. But aside from that, Oly Town played a really competitive half and had some dangerous opportunities. The ball didn't bounce for them.
Well, we did take a straw poll. There was some consternation as to was Robles' goal or Alex Mejia's, and I polled everyone in the room over there, that the staff members, the photogs, the people who have video cameras down on the field, and we have conclusively determined that nobody has any idea who got the final touch on that ball.
I think his hair touched the ball, but it wasn't enough to deflect it, so I think they just called it for Robles.
It's one of those ones where, again, right, if you're a Ballard FC fan, this is the kind of argument you want to be having at halftime, is who it was that scored the go-ahead goal.
Right.
And then Korzanowski, a really strong run into the penalty area, draws a stone-cold PK, is stone-cold from the penalty spot.
No question. On the other hand, as I mentioned, I really disagree with the modern goalkeeper coaching that tells the goalkeeper that to stop a penalty you have to guess. Because if you guess, you're pretty much just eliminating two-thirds of the goal. And in that case, the goalkeeper dove right, and Korzanowski just hit it right down the middle.
Well, Jim, we talked about the response, the poise we've seen from Oly Town. You talked a little bit about what they might want to tweak getting back out there in the second 45. What about from Ballard's perspective? What does the club need to keep doing or do differently to try to exploit something that may have opened up from this lead?
I think it's pretty safe to say that if Oly Town is going to get back into the net or into the game, they're going to have to stick something in the net, which means they're going to have to probably over-commit to offensive play, which opens them up for a counterattack. So if I'm the Ballard coaches, I'm talking to the back four and saying, when you get an opportunity, you look up the pitch and see if you can slot a pass either directly to the forwards up top or to that attacking center mid, who can then slot the ball and then create that counterattack opportunity.
Well, a goal of dubious scorer and a penalty kick from Stas Korzanowski. The difference so far through 45 minutes of play here at Interbase Stadium. Ballard FC leads Oly Town 2-0. We'll be back after this with the second half kickoff. Welcome back into Interbay Stadium. Set for kickoff here in the second half between Oly Town FC and Ballard FC. Ballard leading 2-0 through 45 minutes of play. I'm Andrew Harvey, joined as always by my father Jim in the booth. Jim, our first Ballard FC match of the year, and you can see the club picking up right where they left off in 2022 here at Interbay Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that this team is actually more together in some ways in terms of just being organized. We did see that in the first half, and I would look for more of the same in the second. But they do need to be careful. As we normally say, 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in soccer. And if they can get to third goal, that takes a lot of pressure off.
LaPointe Guevara gets us back underway on the whistle from Mike Hohenholtz. 45 more minutes plus stoppage time here in a top-of-the-table clash. Remember, Jim, the top 2 spots here in the Northwest Division do qualify for the postseason. But importantly, bad giveaway there. Helleran a big stop, and it comes right back to Delaluz.
Yeah, that was really dangerous, and Helleran made a heck of a good save there. That was a point-blank shot, and he was able to deflect it. Unfortunately, it came back to the Oly Town player who just knocked it out of bounds. But very, very difficult opportunity there, and that's the kind of mistake that you can't afford to have if you're Ballard FC and you want to come out with a victory.
So Ballard able to ride through the early misplay.
Yeah, we used to call that a hospital pass when you're knocking it square, or in this case backwards, toward the middle of the pitch, right in front of your own goal.
Loose ball rattling around there. Coming out near side. Peretti chasing it down. Really good from Peretti. Famoudatimi. Here's Miller. Perez. Slaus. We see Oly Town have made their first change. On comes Federico Russo. Italian-Venezuelan. Out here to try to shake things up in the middle of the pitch.
Oly Town substitution at halftime. Leaving the game, Desmond Wade. Replaced by number 6, Federico Russo.
Lucia Tetsane is down away from the run of play. He went down on that challenge and stayed down.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Mike Hohenholtz didn't stop play. Now he's finally doing it.
And Tetsane in some evident discomfort there.
I think we're likely to see a trainer come on the pitch at some point. Yep, and that's what he's signaling for.
Helped back to his feet by Korzanowski.
It appears that he's holding his arm, so.
Speculate about any injury or what it may or may not be, but he'll step off for the moment. We'll wait and see if Ballard makes a change for him. For a moment, they'll play with 10. We'll restart with a drop ball. Back underway. Oly Town first with a big opportunity on a gifted ball, now playing a man up. For a while at least. And it looks like Ballard is going to make a change for Tetsane. More on that in a moment. Another risky ball cleaned up by Leo Burney, winning the throw-in.
Well, you would expect Oly Town to be a little bit more determined and high pressure now that they know that they're up a man, and they just seem contentious to knock the ball around the outside of the pitch.
Tetsane getting a round of applause as he trots up the touchline, and he is waved back onto the field. So Tetsane going to continue for the moment at least. Tetsane holding his arm says, "You take the throw."
Yeah.
Stand corrected. Halloran squares it back out to Alvarez. Alvarez up to Gaffney. Mejia looking out wide. Here's Briscoe. Look at him go. Briscoe, space for a cross. Too much on it. Tetsane arrives in the far alley. Sends it right back. Briscoe. Sweeping ball toward Mejia. Little flick header. Korzanowski. Perez the save. Korzanowski can't put the second ball in.
That was a brilliant save on the part of the goalkeeper because Korzanowski was maybe 2 yards away. So very lucky on the part of Oly Town that Ballard didn't add an extra goal there. But I did like Briscoe's run, obviously the pace, but the quality of the cross was there. Unfortunately, Ballard FC did not have somebody in the far post.
Nicasio looking for Delaluz. Intercepted. Now Gaffney. Quick ball through. Mejia's onside. Mejia tried to square it one more to Korzanowski.
That was an unselfish play on his part because he very easily could have cracked a shot, and he might have been better off to do that in that case, but still. You really get the sense that Mejia and Korzanowski are learning to work very well together.
Korzanowski turning inside. Kingston. Kingston onto his right. Strikes for a goal. Did that come off a defender? It has, and also it's a yellow card for Manny Nicasio for that previous foul behind the play. Hohenholz allowed it to continue, but he is booked here in the 53rd.
Yeah, Hohenholz did call advantage, and then as soon as the play finalized, then he came back and gave the card.
Fourth corner of the match for Ballard. Robles lining up the in-swinger from the far side. To the near post. That one did find the head of Mejia. And then a defender back out. Robles, higher ball this time, over the head of Burney. Tetsane checked his kick as Leatherman was coming to it. Leatherman apologizes. Briscoe looking over the top. Towering header from Mutatimi. Tetsane, low cross. Boy, I think he was trying to smash that off of Burney and into the goal.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the quality of that volley was really excellent. There's another sort of cautionary tale. If you're the forward on the other side of the pitch, you finish the run at the far post.
Russo. Pressure coming. Lapointe Guevara. Gone over the top. Delaluz onside. He's got Brunel at the right side. Briscoe comes charging back, pokes it away, and Halloran holds the ball in play.
Yeah, very well defended there.
Kingston working against Peretti, soon to be teammates at the University of Washington. Kingston transferring to UW. And Hellerin didn't like what he saw in front of him, so he puts the ball 10 yards into touch.
You definitely get the sense that Oly Town has an opportunity. They may stick one in the net, and that'll change the tenor of the match.
Brunel hemmed in here, still loops it through. Famutatimi, low ball. Hellerin thought about coming out for it, and a foul called against Famutatimi, climbing over the back of that's Damian Alvarez.
And Hellerin is lucky because he started out and then he was indecisive. So I don't know whether there was a communication issue there or it was just a bad judgment, but you don't want to be stuck in no man's land when you're playing the goal.
Kingston settles underneath that ball. Lovely first touch to bring that down. Now Korzanowski trying to back up Miller. Quick square, Leatherman. Ball deflected, LaPointe Guevara. Delaluz gives chase in the left alley. Mejia nearly gets a foot in to get that off of York.
You know, the defensive organization of Ballard FC is really, really good.
Ball wide to Gaffney after that turnover. Gaffney going at Slouse, low shot, and Perez bats it aside. Follow up, and Paley Leatherman. Listen, he's got a thunderous shot, Jim, but sometimes he fancies his chances on balls that are a little bit speculative.
Well, it was bouncing and he hit it just a bit over the goal.
Oly Town going to bring on Connor Tolan now, taking off Cooper Brunel. Tolan just finished up his freshman year from Tacoma, Washington, and plays right here at Inter Bay Stadium. The SPU man getting the run out from Leaview Bird. Played over 1,000 minutes for the Falcons last year. Tetsane, Kingston, Robles.
Cooper Brunel, replaced by number 13, Connor Tolan.
Briscoe.
Ballard being very careful with the ball and possession.
Korzanowski working his way around Miller, fouls him in the process.
Well, those are the two largest players on the pitch, and it's fun to watch the physical exchange between the two of them.
Definitely more fun than being involved in it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well.
Perez. Briscoe. Bernie just hits the reset button. He's a real no-nonsense center back. He's kind of a throwback that way. I mean, he's capable with the ball at his feet, don't get me wrong. And he scores a lot of goals with that big head of his, but when the ball's in danger, he just always makes the right decision. And another bad collision there. Briscoe's gone down. And it is Jack Slouse that collided with him. They're going to call for the trainer. will be a yellow card for Jack Slouse here just shy of the hour mark.
Well, that's Briscoe twice getting fouled and the offending Oly Town player getting a card. But you still get the sense that Oly Town has really picked it up in the second half, and they're being much more aggressive and competing for balls.
Well, we crossed the hour mark as Kai Briscoe being attended to by the Ballard FC training staff. Ballard leading 2-0. Gave up really an opportunity that Oly Town should have finished on, but for a fantastic save from Lars Hellerin close in. And then on the other end of the field, Ballard's had a couple of opportunities on the doorstep, but Perez has made some great saves, and his defense has bailed him out a couple other times.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Ballard, the key is you can't afford to make that kind of a mistake that almost gave up the easy goal. And you have to remain organized. Offensively, you need to spread the field width-wise. Defensively, you have to compress and make sure that no one is left unmarked.
Russo, Nicasio. Leatherman sticks a foot in. Nicasio jumps over the challenge. Tolan. Famuda Timi. Peretti wants the ball out wide. It comes his way.
Yeah, really nicely done by Satani there. He looked like he was too far away to actually make a challenge for the ball, but he did, and he created a turnover. You know, that's one of those subtle plays that you will see from a high-quality international player like Tatsani, and that's why he's the captain and why he's that steadying influence on the back line.
Well, we're going to see a double sub now from Jason Farrell. Charlie Gaffney and Korzanowski headed off. On come Jeremy Opong and Taketo Onodera. So 2 Penn players go out, 2 CLU players come on.
Well, Opong is clearly an offensive threat, and Onodera is an incredibly gifted distributor of the ball. His field vision is stunningly good.
Perez just had to deal with that ball, knuckled into touch. Opong, a real threat last year for Capital FC Atletico. Gave Ballard FC some real troubles. The club that handed them their only 2 losses on that season in the regular season.
And the solution is, I want him on my
Sign
team.
him, yeah. Get that guy a uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
Cross coming in, headed away from Mejia. Falls to Delaluz. He's got to hit it downfield. Turn back over to Bernie.
He's had a very nice, steady game as Leatherman. You know, playing a defensive center mid. He's been doing a great job of continuing to make smart decisions.
Replaced by number 17, Jeremy Opong. Also leaving the game for Ballard FC, number 45, Stas Korzanowski. Replaced by number 6, Taketo Onodera.
Opong just given a yellow card for sticking his foot out, preventing Oly Town from taking a quick restart.
Well, it was Kai Briscoe cautioned for delaying the restart of play, but it is the yellow card first for Ballard on the night.
Yeah.
And some quick thinking from Delaluz there. Low service, pelted back out by Onodera. Perez has to deal with this. In comes Robles. Well worked back to Nicasio. Peretti tripped over the ball there. Tetsane thumps it into space. Robles waiting for support. Back for Tetsane, who's on his horse. Ship ball to the back post looking for Mejia, headed toward goal and turned aside by Perez.
Yeah, beautiful cross and an even better header by Mejia. And Perez again up to the task of keeping the ball out of the net. But that was a dangerous, here's a perfect example of the counterattack that we've been talking about all afternoon. And it started with Tsetsane's very soft clearance to Robles, and then he came back and got the ball back, which, you know, that's a 85, 90-yard run that he just made.
Robles swings one in. Perez gets a hand to it, body down in the box, falls to Kingston. He slices one toward goal. And it takes a touch on its way through. Not sure if it was Perez or the defender, but Holmholtz is given another corner.
And that just literally hit the corner, the top corner of the crossbar and the upright.
Ball looked vicious coming off of Kingston's foot.
Yeah. Well, it's very gifted on his part. That's a really hard skill to do, a high side volley like that.
7th corner now for Ballard. Oly Town's marked them well. Kingston gets all of that one. And Ballard gives away the free kick in the opposing penalty area.
But I like the fact that Robles was on the far penalty side, penalty box line to collect that one. So that's well organized corner kick strategy.
Slaus, Tolan has a runner. Now Peretti. Tetsane, another inch-perfect challenge against Peretti, who cannot hold the ball in play.
Yeah, again, I can't stress enough how unusually poised Tetsane is. He's unflappable.
In addition to his work here in USL League 2, also plays in the MASL for the Harrisburg Heat.
I wonder whether he prefers being in Seattle or Harrisburg. Hard to say.
Pretty close to your old haunts, Harrisburg, isn't it?
Well, it's in the same state.
Well, something the size of Pennsylvania, that counts. Chased down here by Miller, back to Perez. Famoudatimi. Perez leaves that one fat, falls to Kingston, slicing the ball in, and no one on the end of it.
Well, that was a hopeful cross, hoping that somebody would just tuck it in. But you can definitely tell Perez is a little skittish out there, you know, in terms of knowing he was under pressure and just, you know, making a mistake in terms of his distribution.
Well, a third time tonight, Kai Briscoe hits the deck, and an Oly Town player gets a card. Not much in the way of protest from De La Luz there. Knew Briscoe had him beat, knew he had to stop him, and did what he had to.
Well, we talked about Briscoe's pace being a real threat, and he's been using it all afternoon. And I think that's to a large extent why Oly Town defenders are saying, you know, either get the ball or the player, but I'm not letting it go past.
Leatherman, big back spinning ball. Famoudatimi underneath it. Onadera challenges for it. Robles. Up to Mejia. Tackled away from him by York. Opong. Double sub now for Oly Town. And they'll bring on Gabe Fernandez and Trevor Thompson. Thompson has 2 goals for Oly Town this season. And it appears that Peretti and De La Luz are finished for the night for the visitors. Robles won that ball, quickly dispossessed.
Multiple Oly Town substitutions. Leaving the game, number 10, Gil De La Luz.
Mejia came in for the shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. Awkward timing on it there. Oly Town player was kind of ducking.
Yeah,
Got himself in the line of fire.
What happened was that the other player ran his head into Mejia's shoulder, and Mike Honghorst did not call a foul, but stoppage of play for the injury, the potential head injury. They stopped it. So again, excellent refereeing. Just
Federico Russo was the man shaken up on the play. Looks fit to continue. Big switch looking for Thompson near side. Can't get him. And now Ballard will make the sub. Joe Dale, Seattle native, coming on now. Plays his college ball at the University of Washington and played his high school ball not too far from here over at Roosevelt. Rough Rider Joe Dale subbing on now for Leatherman here in the 72nd. LaPointe Guevara trying to work free to that right foot, gets the shot away, but couldn't put any venom on it.
Yeah, I'm sure, but that was a heck of a good move on his part to create the lane to shoot the ball.
Tetsane looking quick, broken up on its way to Mejia. Famouda-Timi. A quick work from Sarah, our camera operator down there. That ball came right past her. Great dodge. Dale crashing in and gives away the free kick. That's one way to make your presence felt shortly after subbing on. Briscoe, big interception, and he's off and running. Opong racing in. Briscoe looking for Mejia and put it over him. I think Mejia wanted that one on the deck. Kingston holds it in play. Chipped into the middle. Easy cleanup. Out as far as Robles. Wanted to go in for Opong. Briscoe's everywhere. Look at him.
Yeah, he's had a heck of an afternoon. Very energetic. I can't imagine how many miles he's covered.
Robles. Space for the cross here. And Mejia let off on his run. It reaches Dale. Fighting his way free for the cross and straight into the hands of Perez. And to your earlier point, Jim, forwards not finishing their runs, not being able to get to those goal chances, grab a third goal, and at this stage in the game, probably put the match away.
Yeah, well, and in all fairness, Joe Dale might have served that a little bit early, and you got to look for the player and see when the run is timed.
Well worked from Thompson. Ahead for Tolan. Alvarez doing well there. He's had 3 or 4 really good tackles tonight as Alvarez.
Very poised. He, that was that spin and misdirection is a move, and did a beautiful job in creating the space and taking the pressure off.
York, Russo, intercepted by Robles. Now wide to Kingston. Kingston, Mejia on his left foot and scores!
Fabulous sequence there for Ballard FC. The quality pass from Robles to Kingston, and then Kingston faking inside and laying a perfectly weighted pass to Mejia, who basically tucked it, nailed it low and hard into the lower left-hand corner. And there's that third goal that you have to assume has put the game beyond reach for Oly Town.
Well, a very, very composed finish from Mejia on some lovely build-up play, and it started with that ferocity we've seen out of Kai Briscoe, but in this case, Robles just winning those balls back in midfield and immediately picking their head up and pushing downfield.
Yeah, no, it was a beautifully timed run, and Mejia, being the striker that he is like going to go for it, and Kingston knew it, and so he just laid the ball and let him run onto it. It was perfect.
Well, they won't be able to take that goal from Alex Mejia. It's now his 5th on the season, and that is the club lead. Comes at a big window, too, right on the verge of the last quarter hour as we're in the 76 now. Ballard leading 3-0.
Assisted by number 26, Danny Robles.
On a Derek comes crashing in. Tetsane spins away.
Ballard FC goal. Scored by number 9.
Now Kingston, he's got a bunch of options in the middle. Mejia. Great tackle from Slaus, the man in the captain's armband, denying what was sure to be a 4th goal.
That was an amazing defensive play by Slaus. Unbelievable. Because if Mejia hadn't scored, then they had Briscoe on the outside as well.
Russo. Trying to break Ballard's lines here. Dropping ball there. That one tipped toward goal and heads wide. It won't matter. Flag was up for offside.
But again, Ballard can't afford to be asleep here because Oly Town knows that they have to claw back into the match. And obviously Hellerin and the defense would like to keep the score scoreless.
They've done it 3 times so far this season, looking for that 4th clean sheet. Tetsane. Well broken up. It finds Fernandez. Briscoe, another acrobatic win. And another pair of changes on the way for Oly Town. One of the things we talked with Leavey Bird about before the match, big believer, particularly in USL League 2 and getting players a chance to go out there, prove themselves, distinguish themselves, start to try to build that body of work to show that they have what it takes to do it at the next level.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down 3-0, it's not like he's giving up. He's not, because there's probably not much, if any, drop-off from the starters to the next level. But at the same time, you need to give those players an opportunity to be on the pitch in this kind of competitive environment against players who have similar skills and similar aspirations.
Well, the 2 men who've subbed on, one came from an awful long way away, the other one not so much. Tegan Eldridge from Enumclaw and plays his college ball at Western, the all-time appearances leader for the Vikings. 2nd all-time, I'm told. Thank you, Adam Race. Does the play-by-play up there for the Vikings and does a bang-up job directing our show here, as you're able to see on your monitor. And Pavel Volchev, all the way from Bulgaria, plays his college ball at Governor's State. Mejia, shot blocked. Sliding challenge there, gets it away. 2 players go in. Robles, a lot of bodies on the deck now, some chancy challenges. Here's Thompson. Left-footed shot, and that one pelts the outside net.
Well, you got to like that decision just to crack one. I mean, there's no reason not to. And again, even though it's not currently raining, the field is slick, the ball is slick. Had he cracked it across the goal, he may have given up a rebound that could have easily been tucked into the net.
Pair of substitutions for Oly Town. Leaving game number 5, Richie at points, Rivara. Replaced by number 4, Pavel Valchev. Also leaving the game for Oly Town, number 17, Habib Hamoud-Gatibi. Replaced by number 15, Tegan Eldridge.
Ball into space for Opong here, going at York. And Opong initiates the contact there. They get up and play on. Opong rounds his man. Can't quite get past the second one, though. Slaus trying to work that ball in. Ford Fernandez couldn't get to him.
There's Kai Briscoe, the Energizer Bunny this afternoon, just all over the pitch.
Here's Tolan. Valchev. Quick ball coming in, and it bounces in. That one was from Eldridge. Ballard FC, a pair of subs waiting in the wings for them. Well, 3 subs, pardon me. Tetsane. Been great tonight. Now springs Mejia. Opong. Opong has a go. Misses wide.
And again, why not?
Earning our money tonight, buddy.
Not one, not two, but 3 Ballard FC substitutions. In 15, Rondo. In 24, Bumgar. In 77, Yarrow. Out, 10, Kingston. Out, 21, Alvarez.
So the players on for Ballard: Cameron Uriondo, Zane Baumgart, and Peter Yarrow. Robles, Kingston, and it appears Damian Alvarez heading off. Big shifts around the board for Ballard so far in this contest.
Well, and why not? I mean, you're up 3-0, and there's 8 minutes left in the match, and let's give those players, you know, an opportunity as well.
Opong takes over, gone wide for Dale. Dale overhits it, looking for the back post.
Number 15, Cameron Uriondo. Leaving the game for Ballard FC, number 21, Damian Alvarez. Replaced by number 24, Zane Baumgart. Also leaving the game for Ballard FC, number 26, Danny Robles. Replaced by number 77, Peter Yarrow.
Back pass to Perez. It's a heavy one. Deals with it. Gone back to Miller. Ball's still in play. And Jeremy Opong puts it out for a throw-in.
Well, as Danny Robles goes off, you know, you think about his evening. An amazing goal and then an amazing assist. What a good evening for the defensive center mid.
Ballard has it back off the throw. Dale upended, free kick. They thought about the quick option out wide to Opong. Now it looks like they're going to line up and have a go at it. No Robles, no Kingston. So Lucia Tetsane, still wearing the captain's armband, steps over the ball alongside Dale. It's Dale. Driven ball, back post, too tall for Briscoe. Baumgart is there. Here's Yarrow. Lifting in, floating header, and that one trickles in! Cameron Uriondo, moments after subbing on, floats it over Perez for 4.
And that's one of the most sickening feelings as a goalkeeper. You see Perez knock the ball out with a disgusting kick out to midfield, but he just misplayed it. That should have been easily handled, and he was just, like we were talking about earlier with Hellerin, you don't want to be caught out in no man's land, and that's exactly what happened on that one.
Well, always a big moment when you score your first goal for a club. That's Uriondo's. And getting a warm reception from the Ballard FC faithful here as the Bridges have made it 4-0 late in this game.
Lars Hellerin doing what he should, wait until the last minute, pick up the ball, eat up a few seconds.
77, Peter Yarrow. In the 85th minute, Ballard FC goal. Scored by number 15, Cameron Uriondo.
Well, second time this season these teams have faced off. Second time, assuming the scoreline holds, we're looking at a 4-0 victory for Ballard. And right now, this Oly Town team, you can see, has given Ballard their stiffest challenge yet. Bouncing ball there, finds its way through. Eldridge, Valchev. Looking to get the cross off. Thumped clear by Baumgart.
Yeah, really nice clearance to midfield at the sideline. One of the things you see less skilled players and high school kids do is clear the ball right up the middle. It comes right back down your throat. So that extra touch to take it outside and just loft it is exactly what you should have done.
Two Ballard players nearly take each other out. Baumgart going over the top of Onodera there. Thompson. Bright idea from Thompson, trying to link up that first touch ball with Tolan. Yarrow. Onodera.
A beautiful pass to a wide open Titsani, who's got all kinds of time. The one player that we haven't really highlighted, but who's just an important part of Ballard's poise on defense is Leo Burney, who's back there and doing a great job at right back.
Opong has it. Mejia wants the ball ahead. Opong calls his own number into the area and tried to tip through a few too many tulips. Hard-driven ball to the far side. No one home but Slouse. He's going to let that ball run out.
Now this is just game management 101. Put the ball in the far corner at the other end of the pitch.
Risky throw there. It's loose, and Mejia, the easy cash-in. The throw-in attempt over to Perez does not pay off, and Mejia grabs his 6th and 2nd of the game.
And a yellow card for taking over his jersey. But, yeah, again, why you would throw it back to your goalkeeper like that. Back when I played, you could throw the ball straight to me, and I could play it, but you can't. He can't play it with his hands. He tried to play it with his feet, and the nightmare continues. Disastrous evening for Perez, especially the last couple of goals.
Well, a 5th goal now for Ballard FC.
Ballard FC goal scored by number 9, Alex Mejia.
And as we said, Mejia getting his 6th on the year, and Ballard looking for more. Onodera into the alleyway. Steps topside, fires in across, too tall for everybody. And Mike Hohenholtz has seen enough. Well, Ballard FC knew what they needed to do to put this game away, Jim. They came out in the second half and they did it.
No question about it, although it remained 2-0 for an awful long time before that 3rd goal came in. But you know, it's a testament to their organization. It's a testament to the quality of their players that, you know, even after multiple substitutions, they still were able to dominate play and create those opportunities.
Well, Ballard, another clean sheet, Jim. 4th one they've kept this season. They are now plus 20 on the year. 21 goals scored, 1 conceded.
Right, and obviously for the Ballard Food Bank, they're very happy about 5 goals, so I'll get my checkbook out, and so will you.
Well, again, the win tonight, 5-0 over Oly Town. Ballard now turns its attention to the road. They'll play 2 consecutive road games. Next Friday, they're down in Oregon again at Lane United. They'll stay in Oregon and play at PDX FC next Sunday, the 18th. That'll be Father's Day. As a fun note, if you're in the Seattle area, Jim and I are going to be doing a sort of guerrilla broadcast of that Sunday game on Father's Day. Quite fitting, Jim. Yeah. And we'll be doing it over at Ruben's Brews, so we really do hope you come over and join us for the watch party there doing that. And then, Jim, they'll be right back at home against who else but Oly Town FC on Friday the 23rd for a 7 p.m. kick. So Leave You Birds say it will get another bite at the apple against this Ballard team.
Well, no question about it. Of course, the biggest question I have is, if we're at Ruben's Brews and we're doing the game, do I get to get a beer?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll let you do that. I'm not going to because I have to talk a lot. But a great night for Ballard FC. Mejia bags 2 goals. Uriando has a great looping header. And Robles right now credited with 1. Imagine this, if that goal not credited to Robles, Mejia has a hat trick tonight, the 2nd in club history in league play.
That's true. Well, Mejia was a force to be reckoned with, to be sure. Obviously, Korzaneski as well. I mean, just those 2 are just powerhouses. And, you know, I think if you're Ballard FC, you have to think pretty positively about your chances in the playoffs based on this kind of dominance here in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, it's a 6-point gap at the top of the table now. Ballard FC sitting pretty on 15 points. Oly Town in 2nd place behind them with 9. That's going to do it for us here from Interbase Stadium. Once again, your final score, Ballard FC 5, Oly Town FC 0. For all of us here on Ballard FC TV, but especially for Adam Race, our technical director, and Jim Harvey, my analyst, I'm Andrew Harvey saying so long, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.